Hello and welcome to this Academic Literacies component of Module 1. In this part we're looking at critical thinking and argument because creating a critical argument is a core skill in your academic work. We want to show you what a critical academic argument is and help you understand what's expected. Before we begin, take a minute to think about what you understand critical thinking to be. In response to this question, people often say that critical thinking is about criticising or critiquing or finding negative things in other people's work. But it's not just about that. Critical thinking involves certain attitudes and skills, and that's what we want to look at today. Firstly, there are certain attitudes of being a critical thinker. The most important one is to have an open mind. Be willing to consider other people's points of view. Really listen to their argument and what they're saying. Only then can you evaluate whether it makes sense or whether it's valid to you. Have a flexible state of mind. Be willing to change your mind if you are persuaded by someone else's argument or point of view. In your evaluation of their argument, you might see that your own position can be modified. And that's okay. Equally, you might find your own position is affirmed, and that's equally okay. Practice perseverance. Critical thinking really means following a line of inquiry to its conclusion. Sometimes that can take quite a bit of persistence and courage to find what really is the cutting edge of a debate or the logical end of an argument. Be sensitive to the opinions and perspectives of other people. Everyone comes from different cultural and socio-economic backgrounds, and we need to be aware that everyone has a different worldview based on their own experiences. In your academic work, you have to be a critical thinker, a critical reader, and a critical writer. So let's just think about the skills of critical reading first. Critical reading and thinking. It's important to be able to recognise how a writer has structured their argument, how they've put the argument together. And we'll look at an example of that a little later. It's also important to be able to distinguish between what are facts and what are values. When a writer says something, is it a scientific fact or a provable fact, or is it their opinion? Their opinion is what their argument is based on, but it must be supported by some kind of evidence. Also, recognise the assumption that the writer is basing their argument on. All arguments are based on a particular way of seeing the world, which we call a worldview, and the writer assumes that we will accept that worldview as the basis for their argument. It's important to understand what that worldview is. What is the underlying assumption on which they are building their argument? We'll consider this aspect of critical thinking more deeply in Tutorial 3 in a few weeks. As a critical thinker, you will have to construct arguments in your work. So the basic skills of constructing a critical argument are being able to maintain a line of reasoning, which really means being able to organise your ideas in a logical sequence, but also being able to acknowledge other points of view within that line of reasoning. And then the second supporting skill to that is to be able to organise the evidence you have to support each reason that you are giving for your argument. When you are referring to evidence in your work, you refer to it in a summary way. You don't have to paraphrase every detail, but we'll be looking at that more closely in Lecture 3. Now, to look at some of these ideas about what an argument is, we're going to analyse a sample outline of an academic argument. This is the end of Part 1. Now go to the handout document and read Exercise 1, the sample critical argument, HR Essay Outline.